watching Numbskull News, and today I'm going to give you the way too early power rankings for the 2025 season. And it's way too early. I get it. But I was going to do a season finale power rankings for this year, but it's kind of too easy. It just is. I mean, you got to have Arizona State at the top. You got to have Iowa State right underneath them, the two teams that played for the conference title this year. You got to have Oklahoma State at the bottom. You got to have UCF at the bottom. And then number 3, you got to have like BYU, followed by Colorado, Baylor, TCU, some kind of conglomeration of that. And all the middle guys are the middle guys. So, what are we talking about? 2-minute video? I mean, kind of boring. So, I am going to do way too early. For next year, 2025, we're taking a look what quarterbacks are coming back, what coaches are going to be there. So without any further freaking ado, let's get it going. And for these power rankings, it's too difficult to just go 1 through 16. I'm using a tier system. So your top tier, teams that are going to play for the Big 12 title, or at least have the best shot of that. So in the top tier, the championship tier, I'm going to say 9 wins is the floor. They're going to be competing all year long. Now, we know that doesn't mean all these teams are going to have at least a 9-win record. All right. See Utah, see Kansas and Oklahoma State from last year. You know, shit happens. So, next up, these are the teams I'm going to say their floor is 7 wins. Now, how is that fire? Well, these are going to be really good teams. If any of these teams in here, in the fire section, if they're 7-5, it's kind of gone. It's gone a little wrong. Okay, but I'm going to say 7-5 on up. Now, any one of these teams has a clear shot. They got the talent. They got the coach. They can definitely get up into the championship ranks. They can get to a conference title game. I don't think there's much doubt about that. But I would say their percentage chances are just a little bit lower than those at the top. Next is that these are the teams I believe will at least get bowl eligible. So the floor for them is 6-6. 6-6 at least. Now, that's not saying they can't win 8, 9 games or something like that. But I'm saying that should be their floor. They should be bowl teams, but I'm not expecting a ton more than that. And at the very bottom, of course, crap. Crap teams that are not going to make a bowl game. And if they do, it'll be a surprise. A nice surprise. So let's get this thing started. We're going to start with Kansas State. Kansas State, Chris Klieman. That's one of the best coaches in the Big 12. Really like him. Avery Johnson's coming back. He should be better this year. He was good this year. He was pretty good last year. I'm expecting this kid to keep growing and may just grow into the best quarterback of the Big 12. To me, there's no doubt they got championship pedigree written all over them. 9 wins should be the floor for Kansas State next year. And they should be in the championship hunt all year long. And also, before I keep going, what helps me determine who's going to do what is the coach and quarterback combination. I know special teams, defense is really important, especially if you're going to play for a conference championship. You got to have everything. I get that. But this far out, transfer portal going, you're going to have another transfer portal date. So there's a lot to be determined there, is all I'm saying. So this far out, that's the 2 things I'm counting on is coach and quarterback. Next up, let's talk about Iowa State. Matt Campbell, fantastic job this year. Got his team to a Big 12 conference championship. They got curb stomped. They got destroyed when they got there. That sucks. But Rocco Becht is coming back. And this team should be damn good next year. So good, in fact, I'm putting him in the top tier, the championship tier. Up next is your 10-2 BYU Cougars. Hell of a year this year. Hell of a year. They were at the top of the Big 12. They caught a couple nasty losses towards the end of the year. It happens, but you're talking about they went from 5-7 to 10-2. And I don't think they're going anywhere. This is going to be a nasty group. Jake Raslov is still going to be there. He's a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's the next Joe Montana, but he's a good quarterback, still young, still got room to grow. So they, as well, have to go into the championship tier. Next up, Cincinnati. Now, man, I like Cincinnati a lot. I actually think Satterfield's a better coach than a lot of people give him credit for. He's going to bring back Brendan Sorsby. So, where should I put him? Keep in mind, this is a team that had 5 wins. I think they were 5-2, and then lost their last 5 games. I thought they were a lock to get bowl eligible. They did not do it. I do like they're bringing back their quarterback, so they're going to have some synergy there. There's some other things that need some work. The defense is pretty decent, but it needs to get better. The offensive line needs to get better. They need weapons. I'm thinking Satterfield, the floor is 500, 6-6. They will make a bowl next year, and they could possibly do more. I'm really hoping they do more, but I think there's a good chance. Now, here's one that's going to be a little controversial. The Colorado Buffaloes. Coach Prime. Is he coming back? Is he coming back? I believe Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter believes, no doubt about it, he's staying in Colorado. He's going to be in Colorado. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to come calling for Coach Prime. Even if they did, I don't know that he takes it. Everything that he's been saying, hey, this is the level that he sees that God has put him there to do this job, to do this work with young men. Not professional grown-ass men, but young men. So I do believe he's coming back. I'm going to take him at his word. Now, Shedeur Sanders is gone. Shedeur is gone. So they got a big hole at quarterback. Now they got a young kid, 5-star recruit, Julian Lewis. I think he's going to be a freshman next year. Plus, they have some really, really good and intriguing transfer portal options. There's a lot of guys who want to come play for Colorado. So they won't have any trouble filling that position. They were 9-3 last year, but I can't put them in that championship tier, not with the hole at quarterback, the big question mark at quarterback right now. But 7 wins to me is the absolute floor for Colorado. Their offensive line has gotten better. Their defense has gotten a hell of a lot better. And look, people have given Coach Prime crap for how much he uses that portal. What he does is just what an NFL team does. He churns that roster. And folks, he's ahead of the curve because that's the way this thing is going. The portal is basically free agency, recruiting, NIL, the whole works, the whole shebang. Coach Prime is just ahead of the curve. You're going to start seeing a hell of a lot more. I'm talking big time universities out there really start churning their roster and using the portal a whole lot more than they're traditionally used to doing. So to me, Colorado, they're in the one tier down. They can easily be playing for a championship next year. But for right now, I'm going to say they're in that second tier. Now, what should we do with our playoff representative of the Big 12 this year? Arizona State, Big 12 champs, Kenny Dillingham. I mean, I kept hearing about this guy, but I just dismissed it because Arizona State wasn't doing anything. Dude's 34 years old. Seems like he's really committed to that university. Sam Levitt, I know, again, he's not the greatest quarterback of all time. The kid is 19 years old. All right, I like that those two are going to be connected for the next several years, and it's already paying dividends. Arizona State has a really good defense. They've got a good offensive line, a fantastic, great run game this year. Nah, people, this thing is going to still be cooking next year. I believe in Arizona State. The champ will be back. And as Ric Flair used to say, if you want to be the man, you're going to have to beat the man. That's the way it's going to be next year. Next up is Kansas. Oh, got off to just a crap start. And then they flipped this switch and figured out how to win games. Look, all these games they lost. You're talking less than a touchdown. It's insane. They had all these fourth quarter leads evaporate. But look, I'm still a Lance Leopold fan. I think he's going to be good. Jalen Daniels should be good. Towards the end of the year, he started looking like Jalen Daniels again. Will that carry over? I don't know. I know he's coming back. And he should be one of the elite quarterbacks of the Big 12. This year has me a little scared. I can't put him in the top tier because of that. Now, should I put him this high? Look, like I said, I believe in the coach. I mostly believe in the quarterback. Maybe they worked out whatever yips he had. But damn it, they should be at the top of this league next year. They were supposed to be there this year. But we know what happened. I believe Kansas will rise out of the ashes and get into the flames next year. Next up is my beloved TCU Horned Frogs, and they got off to a poor start this year, finished strong, finished 8-4, started beating teams people didn't think they could beat. Sonny Dykes had to remind people, hey, this is a coach that played for a national title. He's got the number 1 recruiting class coming in, people. Josh Hoover can play. He's a young kid, young little whippersnapper. But the kid can play. And he's got a coach that believes in him. I love that. TCU is for real. And they're going to be a handful next year. You can call it a homer pick if you want. But TCU, they should be 9 wins or better next year. That's a serious ass team and a serious program with a serious coach. Let's go. Next up, Texas Tech. Texas Tech, aka next year's team. They're always next year's team. Eventually it's got to be this year, and I keep harping on them. This was a good team this year. Texas Tech was good. I expected them to be better. I expected them to kind of be where Iowa State is right now, who played for a conference title, or Arizona State, or at nothing else, just on the outside looking in of the Big 12 title game like BYU was. But instead, they're down a few rungs, more towards the middle of the pack. In other words, kind of disappointing again. I'm still expecting more from Texas Tech. Joey McGuire, the dude can recruit. I think he's a good coach. I think he can develop players. For whatever reason, they fall a little bit short too often. They're bringing back Baron Morton. How good is he? I don't know. Is he going to get better? He needs to. But right here, this is where they belong. They're going to be a good team. But can they get to the top of the Big 12? This is what we've been waiting for. I'm going to put them here on the Tier 2 level. But damn it, this needs to be a Tier 1 program. They got a shot to get there next year. They had a shot this year. They didn't do it. They have another shot. Let's go, Red Raiders. Next up, Houston. A lot of people love Willie Fritz. I'm not big on the retread guys, but he seems to be doing a decent job. That's what I've been told by a lot of people with a lot more knowledge than me. So I'm gonna go with it a little bit. Now they got the Texas A&M transfer Connor Wegman, former 5-star recruit, always injured. That's a problem. Ask Utah. He's always injured. But can they get better? Can they get bowl eligible next year? I don't think so. I hate to say the Houston Cougars are going to be crap once again, but I think they're going to be crap once again. I think they'll show up and they'll beat some people they shouldn't. And some people are going to lose to them, and they probably shouldn't lose to them. That seems to be Houston's MO. They're going to rise up and get you once in a while, but it's still hard. It's still hard because there was like 2 weeks, a 2-week stretch where they didn't score one damn point. And they got a lot of coming up to do, but not just the quarterback. So, and right now it appears Mr. Wegman is probably going to be the starter, but he misses a lot of time, and it's not a good recipe. I don't like it. I'm sure Willie Fritz is a pretty good coach, but it may take more than just 1 or 2 seasons to get that thing really cooking. And then there's Utah, former 2-time Pac-12 back-to-back champion who sucked nuts this year. Willingham, he's a good coach. I don't have to tell any of y'all, he's a really good coach. He talks a little too much, but he's still a good coach. Now, they're bringing in a kid from New Mexico to play quarterback, Devin Dampier. For right now, contingent of whatever, he seems like a lot of people are penciling him in as the starter for next year. He's good with his legs, suspect with accuracy. Okay. Can Willingham help him get better with it? Can you get better, more accurate? You can. As your mechanics get better, all of a sudden your arm gets a little better. That's the way it usually works. However, you also design an offense to kind of hide and mask some of his problems, and then you amplify what he does well. So I'm not sure if he, is he best at throwing short stuff? Can he throw in the flat really well, but he sucks throwing deep? Or does he, throw deep well, but the short stuff he's a little iffy on? More than likely, it's the mid-range passes. That's where elite quarterbacks live. They could dump it off. They could throw it deep and kill you. But it's that mid-range. When you're consistently hitting the mid-range stuff, that's when you're moving the chains. And when you get that good stuff going over the middle and hitting somebody on a dead run, that's when you get your yak yards. That's when you get your 80-yard touchdowns. So, we'll see what that kid can do. Where should I put Utah? With Willingham and his reputation, and given his resume, I don't see Utah missing another bowl game next year. So, at the very least, that's as high as I could put them right now. But at the very least, Utah should be 6-6. That should be the absolute floor for Utah. Now, they can move anywhere up here. Who knows? Willingham's that good of a coach. They do that well of recruiting. Now, NIL, I've heard it's getting better. We'll see. And then there was Arizona. Boy, everybody wants Brent Brennan the hell out of there right now. 1 year. 1 year, people, was enough for a lot of people in the media to say that was a mistake. He needs to go. That's quick. I don't know about that. Maybe it was the absolute wrong hire. I don't know. I know they're replacing all 3 coordinators. Offense, defense, special teams, all gone. All replaced. And their number one job in the offseason is to bring back Noah Fafita. We don't know if he's going to come back. But they're talking to him. They're doing everything they can to get him back. And they really need him. He's a good quarterback. But they had him this year, and they sucked. So, until further notice, I think they're going to be crap again next year. And speaking of crap, I'm sorry, UCF, you were kind of my dark horse this past year. I had that way wrong. Now, they brought in Scott Frost, new coach. Have no clue who the quarterback's going to be. You could throw out a bunch of names. Nobody knows. It's a big can of mystery meat right now. And here's the thing. I'm not big on the retread coaches. I'm not. I thought for UCF, hey, go get one of these young G5 coaches that's doing some winning. Go get one of those guys that is putting it out there. But what did they do? I get the temptation. Go get Scott Frost. Maybe it works. I hope it does work for you guys. I'm pulling for UCF. But right now, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the retread movement. And no quarterback in sight. We have no clue. Right now, it looks like UCF is destined to be crap once again. Next up is Baylor. And look, I don't know everything, obviously. But I thought Aranda was a fake. Every year it was getting worse for Baylor. Last year was horrendously embarrassing. And it looked like we were heading for another one of those years. And how many did Baylor win in a row? 5 or 6 games in a row? Hellaciously impressive. They finished the year 8-4, the hottest team in the Big 12. And it looks like Aranda's back. It looks like he's back. Sawyer Robinson. In some circles, small circles out there, there's some Heisman talk about this kid, Sawyer Robinson. So, what kind of expectations should I have for Baylor? As a TCU fan, our chief rival is Baylor. And it's been Baylor. And I have super high expectations for Baylor. This has got a 9-win season or better written all over them for 2025. I fully expect them to give it everything they got and be one of the top teams in the Big 12, if not playing for the title next year. That's what I think of Baylor. So, I'm hoping they don't prove me wrong. I would love to see TCU versus Baylor next year. Holy shit, in the Big 12 title game. Come on, give me that. And speaking of retread coaches, West Virginia. Old Neil finally gets the axe, and here comes Rich Rod. Rich Rod is back in town, back in the saddle, and we got no clue who the quarterback is. West Virginia needs a lot of work, people. They made a bowl game. I mean, you got to say that. They were good enough. As bad a year as they had, they still made a bowl game. Florida State didn't even smell one. All right. Utah didn't get there. Cincinnati didn't get there. West Virginia got there. They got the 6 wins. And that's exactly what I expect from West Virginia next year. Now, could they do better? Yes. Do I expect it? Absolutely not. But I expect them to get bowl eligible. Like I said, I know there's a lot of optimism with Rich Rod. We'll see what he does. We'll see what he does. I know that's such a crap answer. I know it is. But, I don't have that magic mirror on the wall. I don't have a DeLorean where I can go a year ahead and tell you exactly what he's going to do, because I don't. I don't know. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I don't know how good the whole team all around is. But as excited as the fan base is, and former players coming back and wanting to coach for West Virginia with Rich Rod, I don't know how much excitement that's going to garner from the players or prospective players or transfers or any of that. I don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see. And last, but certainly last, is the most disappointing team this year, Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy. Who is the quarterback for next year? Have no clue. I mean, who's going to be on defense? Who's going to be on the offensive line? Look, Oklahoma State, absolute shit show. 9 in a row. They lost 9 conference games in a row in 1 year. 0 wins in the Big 12. They started off with a 3-0 record. Non-conference 3-0, including a win against Arkansas. And that was it. Just embarrassing as all hell. A lot of people are like, hey, maybe it's time for Mike Gundy to go. And you know what? This past year was the right year to say that. Because it got embarrassing and shitty. Whew. But he's coming back. Mike Gundy's coming back, and I gotta believe it's going to get at least 3 games better than that. I'm not saying they're going to go for a Big 12 title. I'm not saying any of that. But you can't convince me that Gundy can't get this team into a bowl next year and keep them from being the absolutely just drizzling shits again. Now, I want everyone to take a good long look at my tier list here. My version of the power rankings for 2025. That's 6 teams I see up here that should be vying for a title, possibly 3 more right with them. This is going to be one hell of a competitive freaking conference. I got 4 more teams that should get to 6-6, if not better. And if you do the math, folks, we should have 13 bowl eligible teams next year. We should have a grand total of 6. You talk about getting into week 9, week 10, week 11. All 6 of these teams should be right there. Should all have a shot. And possibly some of these other ones. Maybe Colorado. Maybe Tech. Should be right up here vying for a Big 12 title. Mathematically not eliminated is what I'm saying. It's going to be one hell of a year next year. Well, that's it, folks. That's all I got for that, for the way too early power rankings for 2025. And like I said, it's going to be a hell of a year. The Big 12 is just going to keep getting better and better and better. Believe me. And those top 6, hell on wheels, man. And possibly more. Anyway, thanks for watching this crap, and I'll be back with some more crap later. Bye.